ho, ho, everybody. Merry Christmas. Hey, guys, I'm really glad that you're all coming in here. Hey, Mad Dog, Scotty, Tigro, and of course, our favorite little silly Lily. Okay, saying hi to Mad Dog. Welcome, guys, to a Christmas show. Just wanted to come on. I figure we'll do about a couple of hours. I know I've sent emails out to all of our hosts and a couple of other people. I'm really thinking we'll see how things go, but I might just post the link in the description, and maybe some of you guys would be interested in jumping on. You don't have to show your face, etc. But you can jump on, say hi, wish everybody a Merry Christmas, etc. But as you can see, we got Santa's Workshop. I'll scrunch down a little bit here. And we got the carry bag and we've got the outfit. Okay. I've actually done a mall Santa, several decades ago. But I learned a lot from the time that I was able to do that. I did it for a couple of years. It was a very interesting experience, to say the least. And actually, I had quite the experience. And hold on, we have one of our guests popping on.
Hey,
Listen, hey, brother.
And my two little crazy dogs.
Yeah, we got Poe and the new one. All right.
New one. And this should be interesting to see if they cooperate, but
it depends on what you call cooperation, Leighton.
That's a good point.
So did they get big Christmas presents today?
I wouldn't say big Christmas presents, but they got one heck of a long walk and got to run around and go crazy. So I think it was a good day for them.
Oh, very, very good. Very good. And we got Mad Dog saying Merry Christmas, Leighton.
Merry Christmas, brother. How are you? Hope everybody out there had a wonderful day today.
So far, so good. I got to have a little bit of Bailey's in my coffee, so Santa's happy today,
Nice. And how's Mrs. Claus doing?
Very good. She's saying Merry Christmas, Leighton, and she had the last of the cherry cheesecake for breakfast. Okay.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about. Celebrate with style.
Oh, well, exactly. Like she made it's a New York style, so it's like 3 inches thick, and then the cherry filling on top. It was fantastic. I think I had 2 pieces. No, actually, I think I had 1 piece. But it's so rich. I just like, oh my God.
That's cheesecake for you.
Oh, yeah, exactly. And Lily's saying she had Bailey's in her coffee this morning, too.
Oh, nice. Look at this. That's my boys.
They seem to be enjoying Christmas so far.
Oh, yeah, they're having a blast, to be honest with you. It's been such a good fit for Poe because he was like not having it. Now he's just exhausted all the time because he's playing like he was a puppy again.
Well, he is a puppy again.
Look what he does to him, too.
Yeah, here, let me nibble on your face for a while.
Well, Cheeto's chewing on Poe's leg.
Well, and that's how they play, and they just love to do it. I wish in a lot of ways, Leighton, that we could play like they play, just with total love and letting go and freedom.
And no real responsibility.
Yeah, as long as Dad feeds them, they're good.
Right. In many ways, I wish it could be that way for everybody. I mean, there's so much abundance on this planet at this point in time, and there's no need for people starving, and there's no need for, $100 billion. Like, get the fuck over yourself. But, that's unfortunately the times that we live in.
Well, I'm just hoping that some of those people that have that much money start, donating it to worthy causes to fix our planet. That's my dream anyway.
I'm with you, brother. I'm with you. I'm into that dream.
Well, and that's where, you're working on different aspects of being able to add that biology back into the system, back to our planet and our species. And you're making headway, Leighton. And I remember when Tyler from Grassroots came on and, was just, how would I say it, very appreciative of what you've been teaching for, years now, and it's finally starting to sink in with people.
I thank you, Ken, for reminding me of that, because it has been years, and I'm glad to hear that. It is sinking in. I mean, I definitely still get plenty of DMs thanking me for, the work that I do. But again, at the end of the day, it's not the work. It's what counts is that people are going forward with it. That are recognizing the need to make a difference. So, kudos to those out there doing the hard work. I'm just here. I know, Cheeto. I know. He's a curious little guy.
Just let me lick it. Can I nibble on it? Is it food?
Right, Tito. He trying. Oh, Poe's coming in. Here comes Poe. Here comes Poe for the attack. Yeah. So everything else good up there? You get some snow?
No. Actually, we're having a brown Christmas this year. We don't have any snow.
Wow, that's surprising.
Yeah, it's been kind of nice. I know I went to the sister-in-laws, and they're well, it's an hour drive, so it's about 60 miles as the crow flies, probably 25, and they still have a little bit of snow in the city, but where I am, I'm in a little microclimate here, just because I'm actually a lot closer to the mountains, but yeah, we just haven't had much snow. We've had maybe 5 inches so far, and it's just melted off.
Interesting. Are you at a lower elevation than the city?
I don't actually know, and if there was much of an elevation, I don't think it's much. But I have the river that runs north of me, and a lot of times you'll literally see the storm get caught in that flow of hot air off the river, and it'll get pulled into the city, and will totally go around us. And then I've got a huge lake as well, actually a few lakes south of me, and their heat dome also, they'll get storms there, and I'll be watching the lightning from a distance, and I get nothing.
Interesting. Well, it sounds like a cool little spot you found there.
Well, so far so good. I'm really lucky with picking the place that I did. I wasn't looking at gardening when I picked the place. I kind of fell into that, and that's where there's so many people that give you kudos, Leighton, because you're deserving of it, obviously. But I wouldn't be here doing what I'm doing. I wouldn't have had the opportunity to learn what I have learned without your kicking me in the ass in a lot of ways, because I watched every one of your shows on the Future Cannabis Project, and I did it in 8 months. Yeah, I went nuts just following the wormhole. I jumped into the rabbit hole, and there was all these other places that Leighton went, well, look at Gerald Pollock and the Fourth Phase of Water, and oh, look at this person. And it's like, you've taught so much to so many people. I'm just so appreciative of you, my friend. And I really appreciate your coming on to say hi for Christmas too.
Oh, well, thank you, Ken. I'm honored that you care that much, and I'm impressed that you actually listened to all that content, because it must have been on the second computer 8 hours a day for that long period of time.
Oh, actually, it was more like 10 to 12 hours a day. And my problem is that a 3-hour video could take me 6, because I'll listen to so much, and then I'll have to ingest it into my mind. So it was like, that's how I knew you and Brian so well when I came onto that first show to talk about who's in control of the rhizosphere. I had listened to you for 8 months and repeating the same things over until it was locked into my mind. I remember the first time you actually talked about the horizontal soil system, to be honest, brother, I thought you were Looney Tunes. Okay. I've learned a lot since then, you know. But yeah, when I first like, yeah, whatever, right? But then when I really started to understand how things fit together, it just makes so much sense to have the different layers there for the different types of biology that create plants.
Well, I have to admit to you that that was all by default. I mean, I was on these crazy landscape projects where the architects were totally inappropriately planting groups of plants like on top of each other. So my best example is the swamp maple with a hedgerow of boxwoods right around the trunk on the same irrigation zone. I mean, that's like, yeah, that's a doomsday friggin'.
Yeah.
So that's why I had to create these different soils, and blend them together so that I could get the boxwood soils to drain quickly, and obviously, a lot more silt and clay in the swamp maple to hold the moisture in. So, and then
Yeah.
when I met the cannabis crew and they were like, all about their super soils, I'm like, let me guess, it goes hydrophobic on the top and anaerobic on the bottom. And they're like, how would you know that? Like, obviously, like, you're in pure organic matter. Of course it's going to work that way. So anyway, that's why the whole thing came about. And it was interesting because like you, everybody thought I was absolutely nuts the first couple times I talked about it, and literally almost got laughed off the stage. But I was like, whatever, don't want to listen, that's fine. But eventually people got a hold of it and figured it out, and I've had wonderful successes with it. So it's great to be able to share.
Well, I know I sent the link actually to Tom Landry as well. He's using your system in a commercial setting and is having amazing results. And I'd love to ask him a couple of questions. I know the last time we had him on, he was talking about the CO2 and how it wasn't going down to zero. And we were speculating that maybe it was coming off of the soil structure itself. Have you heard anything from him or had a chance to talk
No,
to
as
him
a matter of fact, ironically, I haven't, because he's, he usually pings me once in a while to either ask questions or just say hi, see how he's doing. And remember, he also was playing with the aerometers, which would have been really nice to see his latest data on that. So maybe I'll ping him in the new year and see if he'll come on and give us an update on where he's at. And then there's another gentleman that just installed it on another commercial grow, I think in the U.S. So it might be nice to get a couple guys on to talk about that.
Well, and to see where they are with everything. I'm going to ping him right now. Tom, we are talking about you. Laugh out loud. I did send him the link already, so maybe he'll jump on and we can actually get a couple of answers right away.
Nice.
It's that information that our community really needs, and not just for the cannabis community, but people that are growing tomatoes and cucumbers and lettuce in these massive greenhouses. Like, I know I've got one, it's maybe 50, 60 miles away from me, that grows, for central Alberta, pretty much all the tomatoes for this area out of the one greenhouse. They're using rock wool. I've seen some documentaries on them. I would love to see some of these people understand, the benefits of using a living soil.
Oh, right on, man. Right on. Another thing that's is a great use of that system is in pots. So people that grow, trees in their house or whatever. Hi, buddy. You want to come up? They can use that as well. And it's, whether it's for a little fruit tree or, tomato plant, whatever, it doesn't matter. It works fantastic. Come here. Come on.
Well, you had done some pots for Pauline as well. I think you said the smallest you did was like a 3-gallon.
Yeah. And it worked great. I mean, look at the house plant, dude.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly.
Totally taken over. So
So Tom says he's just brewing himself a cup of tea, and he'll be right on.
Oh, fantastic. Fun. How much fun?
Well,
It's probably
exactly. That's what today's about.
so how is your experimental grow going?
Oh, well. Now, I'll pull this one up. I'm not familiar with the strain. Here goes the Santa hat. It's a Kush strain John Burfello has created called Medi Kush. And I don't know, it's more of a hash plant, but if you can, let me see that leaf there.
That's a wide leaf, man.
Well, and it's got 12 leaves off the one node there. But yeah, it's like the one down here, you can see there's my hand and there's the dang leaf. My hand,
huge.
yeah, it's just huge. But because I've only grown the one strain, I really don't know if 12 leaves off of one node is normal.
Yeah, that's the thing about each cultivar can be so much different than the other. Let alone the different strain or different wide leaf, narrow leaf, or what was the old term, sativa and indica.
Yeah.
So each one is unique and different, and that's why they're a cool plant to be playing with. You can have a lot of fun with breeding them and really coming out and with some crazy plant that no one's ever had before.
Well, and that's where John Burfello actually is the one that bred this, and I've got this crossed with Def Bubba and 91 Joe Brandt. He's got a couple of other ones that he's going to be coming out with, but this particular plant, I don't know if you ever heard us mention Haley or Haley's Comet. She's a young lady that didn't think she was going to make 15. She's in her 30s now. She's actually doing cannabis juicing, but this is the Medi Kush is what she consumes by vape pen for the seizures that she was going through, and it's the only one that really, really works for her, and it's an old school Kush.
Interesting, very interesting. There was this gentleman I met years back, Forrest Hurd. He was up in the San Francisco area. He had a nonprofit that would get all kinds of cannabis for seizure patients. I believe it was his son was suffering. And he was able to knock his grand mal seizures back from 20, 30 a day to maybe one a day. And he was doing fantastic. And then the damn state got involved and shut him down, took away all the rights because he was getting donated the cannabis, and he wasn't paying taxes on the cannabis, and that was their excuse for shutting down, was that, well, he needs to pay taxes. He's like, look, we're all struggling with the healthcare industry. We can't afford to pay taxes on the gifts that we give away to people and for their free medicine. And it was just it's a sad story. But anyway, hey, what's up,
Merry
Tom?
Christmas, Tom.
Hey, what's going on? Merry Christmas.
Yeah, thanks for hopping on.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I'm doing great. How are you?
No complaints.
Yes,
I
sir.
got this little guy. So Poe has
a new puppy.
Oh, cute. Is that yours?
Yeah, we rescued him out of a shelter a week ago Sunday. So it's been a challenging week, to say the least. I've never had a puppy, and I've had to learn how to house train, which was something I did not know. Like the first night here, because he'd lived in a crate. He'd been in a crate for 6 months. He'd never been, he'd been walked or whatever. But so the first night he was here, I left his little crate door open in the kitchen with a penned-in area, thinking that he'll be able to have a little space. Well, what I didn't anticipate was he just was like, dumped and peed all over the place. So I woke up to that the next morning, and I called the trainer. I said, hey, what's up with this, man? I thought he'd be trained. And she's like, you dummy, he's been in the fucking kennel his whole life. What do you But I told you to keep him in the crate, and I was like, "Oh yeah, you did." I didn't. I was trying to be nice.
Oh, I know. I raised dogs. Well, Lily and I still have a bunch of them, but yeah, that puppies. Yeah, they just go. You know, they don't care. They just go.
Yep, yep. So we've had well, we had our first full night's sleep last night. Other than that, it was pretty much sleepless and friggin' Oxnard for the last 4 nights before that because wouldn't go poop at the end of the day, so I'd had to crate him, and then he'd start howling in the middle of the night, and I'd get up, take him out, go to the bathroom. One night, the friggin' sprinklers were on. The classic shit show, but we got through it, and hopefully tonight he'll go to the bathroom, then he can crate him, and I'll get a full night's sleep, but cross your fingers.
Okay, and toes too. So, Tom, we were talking about CO2 coming off your bed, and the hypothesis last time we had spoke was that it was coming out of your soil. Have you followed up on that at all?
Well, I think if I remember correctly, you guys suggested that I'd put a CO2 sensor under the canopy to see what was going on.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I haven't done that yet. But I think that if you're talking about CO2 coming off of the beds, I would say for sure because I notice it when I put really small plants in there, when I plant my veg plants in there. I don't need to inject CO2 really because the beds will gas off a little bit, and since the plants are so tiny and young, they don't take up much. You really see the CO2 going down, and the need to inject CO2 when the plants get bigger.
Okay.
So yes, there is definitely a CO2 coming off the beds, but not enough to feed the room when it's especially in
Larger
flower.
plants. Yeah.
Well, that only makes sense. I
Yeah,
mean,
and
I was going to say, I
I'm actually noticing. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Leighton.
no, go ahead. I think there's a lag, so I'll just shut up.
No, I definitely notice. As far as CO2, that a lot of CO2 will, for example, and again, correct me if I'm wrong there, but come out of compost piles that I'm flipping, for example. And another thing I'm noticing too is, for example, 48 hours ago, I planted a bunch of new veg plants in my in my beds, and my CO2 isn't really going up much. It's pretty steady, and I think a lot of the CO2 that I would see come up is after I would re-amend and it's decomposing, then I would really see my CO2 go up big time. But since I didn't do anything to the beds after cutting the last crop, I'm not seeing much CO2 gas off.
Okay.
Well, that makes a
One of
lot of sense.
your biology is stabilized that much, and it's not creating that much or eating that much other biology, not gassing off.
Would you say so, Leighton?
Well, I think what's going on is when you amend, you get a plume. And anytime in nature you get, the prey predator theory, you get a ton of deer. Well, in come the wolves and the lions and the bears. So it makes sense that when you amend, that you get a CO2 bump. But I'm not surprised that if the soil is in a what I want to call stasis mode, where it's just cruising along, no, you're probably not producing a ton of excess CO2. But as the
Yeah.
plants, as the
Well,
buff off roots, then yeah, now they're going back to decomposition again.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. I've noticed that when I'm flipping my compost, it releases a whole lot of CO2. And actually, the way I noticed that was because we went a little fancy and we installed a dehumidifier outside of the room. And outside of the room is the garage where I make my compost. And it's all closed loop, or it should be, and I realized it wasn't. And I've noticed some companies that run their dehumidifiers outside of their rooms, some of them really go all out with the spray foam, right? And I was like, why do you guys do that? But what I'm noticing is that those AC, not ACs, but DQs aren't airtight, right? So what's actually happening is I can see when I'm mixing a compost in my garage, I actually see a CO2 spike in my room at the same time. So there's so much CO2 being released in the garage that the little bit that that DHU isn't airtight and is pulling a little bit of air from the garage, which I really need to fix there now that I'm noticing this, is
Yep.
enough to spike in my room. It's
Mm-hmm.
pretty crazy.
That's
Well,
really cool.
and that's one of the reasons that I used like everything in my grow's foam board, because it's that moisture transfer and that air transfer. That's where you're trying to beat, either heat or cold. And if you can have no transference of air through, then it's a lot easier to maintain a temperature, say with a mini split or something like that, instead of having to go to that next level. I know John Burfello had a large DHU in his room, and he ended up having, especially once he switched to the LED lights, to move it outside of the room. It was putting off way too much heat inside of his room.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a ton of heat.
Yeah.
I used to do service master work after 208, after the 2008 crash, because I didn't have any other work in construction. And we set up these monster DHUs and these, what we call losses, where they got flooded out or whatever. And you'd come in there the next day just to make sure that they weren't leaking on the floor. And it was freaking an oven in the house. So they put off a ton of heat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I hope that one day they come up with a technology that they can fix that problem, because a whole lot of AC that I need to run is just to cool down those DHU, the heat from the DHUs. That's crazy.
There may be a way to actually, but see, if you chill the air, then you're going to cause problems. You're going to cause condensation. Yeah, I don't know the best answer for that, because that heat is getting transferred into the air that's blowing out that has been dehumidified. So, yeah,
Yeah.
you'd almost have to have like a heating, a split, that you had part of it outside and part of it inside. But that's probably not a realistic way to do it.
Well, now that you say that, I think that more specialized units that control temperature and humidity, I think they do that. They're able to extract the dry air and separate it from the heat, right? So I'm a little bit more old school, and I have AC separate from dehumidification, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but to go to the next level, it's a much, much higher price. And the other problem with that too that I'm finding, because I know companies that do use those really high end units, what can happen is everything is like, like I said, super high end, all tied in together. But when they fail, the whole scene fails,
Ooh.
right? So for me, when one DHU goes out, I can deal with it. Or if one AC unit goes out, I can deal with it. Like everything doesn't fail at the same time. So that's just one advantage.
Yeah.
Redundancy is always your best friend.
Yeah.
Have you ever
Another thing that
considered
I
having?
do,
Oh,
pardon
sorry,
me?
I was going to say, have you ever considered having a totally separate room where that's the room you add in your CO2, your dehumidification, the adjustment in temperature, and then everything is just plumbed into your room and everything vacuums back into that room. I know a lot of the high-end houses, they're actually putting in, it looks like a big X, and they have the cold air coming in, and they're getting a heat transfer from the warm air that's coming out, In that methodology, they're getting 98% efficiency. I've seen a 3,000 square foot house heated with an element from a hairdryer.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
I've heard of stuff like that. Um, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's a way to do it, but I think my room is just it's just too big. It's just I don't see that I could really control air in a separate room and then shoot it in, like you said. I just can't really see it, but maybe I'm wrong.
It's all about the size of your fans and how much pressure you're putting in. Because what you're trying to do is pressurize the air coming in so that it flushes the air that's going out. You can
Hmm.
put little vents right across your roofs. Not you can eliminate your fans and just have the air blowing and circulating in the room. And just like in nature, it's just blowing through. It's not staying there. But if you're mixing your CO2, it's like adding nutrients in an aquaponic system or a hydroponic system where you're metering in the nutrients that you're putting in. So if you need more CO2, your valve opens gives you more CO2. If you need more cooling, then it's the cooling that kicks on. You need more heat, it's the heat that kicks on.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, there might be a way to do that. For me, the way that my facility is built, I don't have like such a room. So,
Yeah,
anyways, the way that I know how to do it, like the ACs are straight in the room. Same for DHUs, and I have a CO2 sensor that regulates the CO2 really accurately. I was gonna add to like a little sort of trick that I have is um, what I try to do as much as I can to stop like big fluctuations of dehumidifiers going on and off that really causes big spikes in heat and dry versus like humidity spikes is I try to like start my grow with one DHU full blast. Then
right.
like if I need another one, then I add another one. Then I add a third one. You know what I mean? So it always runs and there's less spikes. So I have tricks basically like that to prevent spikes and have a more uniform environment.
good
Oh,
thing.
that's a really, yeah. Go ahead, Leighton.
I said that's really good thinking. Again, it's redundancy but adjustability.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
backing that last conversation. So Ken, if you look up air-to-air heat exchangers, that's
Hmm.
what you're talking about. What they use in these tight houses,
Yeah.
because it's been an issue when you foam a house. You've created such a tight barrier on the inside, especially with really good windows and doors, that you almost have to have what's called fresh air makeup. But of course, you don't want to
Yeah.
be ice cold air and dumping it into a warm house because you'll have condensation everywhere. So that's the method that they use to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's that constant fresh air coming in, creating the pressure to drive this any stale air out. So you always have, an air exchange, and you can set it for however much exchange you want. But that's one of the reasons I built or tried to build such an airtight containment for in my grow is using those methodologies to save myself money. Like it's been crazy, Tom. I don't have snow. We've been, plus 15, which is what almost 60 degrees Fahrenheit in Alberta. I'm thinking about pulling out my air conditioner and hooking it up because I'm sitting here with my door cracked open to keep it cool in here.
Yeah, it's incredible. Same here. We no snow, nothing. I love it. It's unrealistic though. Don't think winter's not coming. It's gonna come.
We are living in Canada, so I'm expecting something soon. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be fucked up. Don't worry about it.
So Tom,
Well, I don't know. It's like talking to a farmer. They're either complaining about the weather or they're complaining about the weather.
Yeah, exactly.
so Tom, did you get those aerometers all set up?
Yeah, man, I have. It's really interesting. I got the LT for the O horizon, and I got the like regular soil one for the A horizon, and I'm monitoring that. And I would say that for the most part, it's just showing me why the horizontal system works so well. It's kind of showing me why I'm not having problems. But it is nice because I'll tell you, we'll see what my last yield was, because my last grow that I just chopped down last week um, was the first grow that I really monitored the whole thing with aerometers. And I did lay off the watering a little bit because I noticed that my A horizon was pretty wet, and even though the bottom of my beds were dry, like I wasn't flooding them necessarily. So I did lay off watering a little bit, and I did play with top watering a little bit more, mostly because I saw what the sensors were reading. So for me, without sensors, I feel like I was better off just guessing by going from the bottom. It's it's way easier to overdo it from the top than from the bottom. I find anyway, especially with the horizontal beds. Um, but yeah, I guess my next thing is really figuring out the perfect moisture content. Right now, I'm just kind of going by what people are saying. And what do you have any thoughts on that? What's like ideal soil contents for different horizons?
Well, I think that um, again, go back to biomimicry. I think that was, great that you did some top watering. In When I
Yeah.
was working in Django, we call it I called it I said waterboard the fucking thing. He goes, no, I love my plants. I go, all right, call it a rain event. What do you need? Whatever you need, right? Call, but that, again, that's biomimicry. That's like, letting it dry down. I think is really important. That gentleman who we still haven't been able to get on the show, who did the amazing work with crop steering through watering, would tell you that he was doing pretty heavy swings, but that's what produced those fruits. Those stress events
Hmm.
caused the
And
fruits
I'll
to.
tell you what, I've spoken to you about it Leighton before, and I was telling you like, man, to get a swing, like it would take forever in a bed because the volume of soil is so big. But I noticed that um, I think that the swings that I was picturing in my head, I was picturing more as far as a pot. Like a pot is really heavy, and then you let it go dry, and then you wait till it goes really dry. I think I think those swings are probably really extreme. When there's a really heavy pot, then it becomes really light. So as far as what do they call centibars
Yep.
on the aerometer? So as far as centibars, like my bed can go 10 and dry down to 20 centibars, surprisingly really easily. Like it can go from 10 down to 20 in a day or two. So that kind of surprised me. I tried to keep my bed through flower, like I tried to water at around 15 centibars and get it from down to 10. Would you say that makes sense?
Yep, and that's in the A horizon, correct? Because I think that
Well, I had both.
right,
I had the LT in the O also.
the LT has a different unit of measurement. I think it's a lot higher than the RT. But I forget. It's been you guys. It's been probably 2.5, 3 years since I was playing with those things. And I actually,
I think it's the same, man, because um, I think maybe I'm wrong about this there, but I think the low tension one just goes from maybe like 0 to let's say 60 or 70. And the one for the sand, silt, and clay goes from 0 to, I'm just totally guessing, maybe 200. So the range is a lot bigger on the one for sand, silt, and clay, where it's more focused. I guess, for the low tension, right? But like when I'm just saying this because I noticed that if I water bottom water, so I saturate the bottom, um, I'll definitely see the A horizon go wetter on the aerometer really quickly. But give it time, and the A and the O will really catch up and be close to the same. And when I get a reading of 10 centibars on the A horizon, I'll see just about 10 centibars on the O. So it must be the same measurement.
Okay. All right. Well, maybe I'm a little bit wrong. I knew there was something different in the units of measurement between, excuse me, between the
Well,
arcs.
there totally could be. I'm just saying it kind of made it. It's always made sense for me because I always had close to 10 and 10 if we're talking about 10, or let's say it's drying down, like both are 15, 15.
Yeah, I'm looking at my RT here. Yeah, and it goes 0 to 40. No, this is the LT. So that's probably right. That's probably right. All right, come on, guys, let's go.
I got a picture of it. If is there a way to share it?
Yeah. Let me.
You're on a
How do I do
phone,
that?
but you can
Yeah.
email it to me. You can
Can you see that?
this.
Yeah.
Okay, let me bring that
So
up
that
big.
that looks like
On.
an LT. That looks like an LT, right?
It is an LT for sure.
Yeah, so it just goes down to 40.
Yep, 40.
So
But
the other version probably goes to like 150 or something.
and this is all new behavior. He's eating the damn rug. Cut it out. Puppies.
Gotta love them.
Oh yes. Hey, it brings Poe great joy, so that's all that matters. Hey, leave it. Get him, Poe. Get him.
So, what are you hypothesizing after using it for a full grow, or you're just waiting to see what the weights and measures are on if it was making a difference, Tom?
Come on, you little nut. Was that for him?
Yeah, well, just a sec. I'm sending you that picture.
Hey.
Okay.
I'm trying to find my aerometers. Oh, check it out. I'm emailing right now.
Okay. We'll see how long Google takes to process it.
Okay, I just sent you the picture, and if we can look at it, great. If not, I just wanted to demonstrate like how both aerometers say that both horizons are just about the same moisture level, and that was just off of bottom watering. But yeah, to be
Okay.
honest with you, I didn't really notice any difference as far as growing the plants. It went really well with just me sort of guessing by bottom watering, and it went also really well by like following the aerometer more. So it's pretty forgiving, I think.
So, did you see any yield increase or anything?
I don't know yet. It's just curing right now.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you'll have to
So,
report back once you're completed this grow, and we can talk a little bit more about those settings and these swings and top watering versus bottom watering, because it might be
yeah.
really interesting to see if you let the A horizon dry down, or excuse me, you let the E horizon dry down a little bit more until you get to a point where the O horizon is actually finally being affected. In other words, there's not enough moisture to pull it all the way up to the surface, and then top water.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
play with it. You see what these
Yeah.
react. That might
Well,
be pretty.
that's exactly what I'm doing. Um, you know, but bottom line, I guess, is what I'm getting at. I'm seeing that if I keep just bottom watering every day, putting water in that tray under my beds, it does make a really wet A horizon. So maybe that was too much. But also the whole wicking thing that or horizon that it's supposed to do really worked. Because you see the water going from the bottom to the top.
Mm-hmm.
So can you check out the two thermometers? Is there any way to zoom in?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the one on the right, you see it goes to 100, right? So
Yep.
that's the one for the A horizon, and it reads it's about 10. And then we go on the left, that's the LT, and it's actually a little bit wetter, but just about the exact same, to be honest with you. And I got those two readings from bottom water.
Interesting. Very cool. Very cool. Hey, are you guys getting an echo?
I'm not.
I'm getting an echo.
All right, I'm gonna hop off.
Ever since you put that picture up.
Okay, I'm just probably slowing things down on my end. Okay, he's coming back in.
Sorry about that.
No worries. How's it now?
I'm fine, absolutely fine. Yeah, that was really cool. So the O horizon was holding just a little bit more moisture than the A was.
Wait.
Correct?
Okay. Oh, sorry, I'm just talking to my daughter a sec. Quoi? Ta maison de poupée, elle est trop grosse. Je viens dans 5 minutes, okay? 5 minutes. All right, I'm gonna have to go on daddy duty pretty soon.
Yeah, likewise. I gotta take these guys for a walk. They're gonna tear this fucking house apart. He's already doing it. Look, he's chewing shit up.
Yeah.
Sorry, what was the question?
So it appears that the O horizon was holding just a little bit more moisture. It was like 8.5 versus 10 in the A horizon. So that's cool.
Yeah, but since the one in the A horizon is in a way less precise, just because the gauge is so much bigger, like it's easier to miss 2 points. You know what I mean? Since
right.
it's going from 0 to 100 instead of 0 to 40.
Gotcha. So you don't have as much adjustment. Well, hello.
Hello.
Hello. Merry Christmas.
Some puppies. Look at this little guy.
Yeah.
And then there's that little guy.
Chercher Stella. Oui, ma belle. Just 1 second.
Yeah.
Go get him.
Oh, it's wonderful to listen to your daughter in the background there, Tom. You know.
Yeah, it's a special time of year for the kids. That's for sure.
No doubt. Okay, maybe last little thing about that aerometer. Yeah, I think it's just because that dial is going from 0 to 100 instead of 0 to 40, so it would be easy to miss those 2 points. So what I'm getting at, I think the moisture level is just about the same in both.
Interesting. Very cool. Yeah. Well, we'll definitely have to get into this at a later date. It looks like you better get scooting or you're going to get in trouble, and likewise. He's going to have this.
No, the cool thing is too, actually Av told me about a government grant that I really started looking into very actively, and it's the government funding R&D. And he made me realize that all of this R&D can be funded big time, and I'm gonna double, triple down on R&D. I'm gonna go all out because a lot of this is going to be funded. So yeah, I'm really, I have spectrum control LEDs that I'm going to be doing some trials on, the aerometers, you name it. Right now I'm actually doing a trial with 5 different horizontal pots with different sand, silt, and clay ratios, different ingredients, etc. So
Nice.
anyway,
Nice.
I'm doing some science, and
All
it's getting
right.
funded.
Yeah, I'm just gonna give you a little. There's some
Oh,
ladies there that I'm
beautiful!
playing with.
Right on. Nice.
Yeah, the wife
Love
wanted
it.
me to make sure I got you to see them.
Okay, awesome. Right on. Okay, well, yeah, if you don't mind having me maybe on the podcast sometime soon, and we'll keep chatting. I'd love to.
Yeah, for sure. I'd love to have you explain your experimental designs, and then we can monitor you and come back and visit. Like after the grow is complete, and share some data. I think
Yeah,
it's fantastic.
yeah, yeah. A big
Tom,
thing that I did just quickly is I tested all the components that I want to add, uh, that I want to use in my horizontal beds for my next room that I'm building. So
Okay.
I actually like built all the custom beds. Everything is like crazy sweet. Like we learned from mistakes from the last one, and this new one is just so awesome.
Right
Um,
on, brother.
and
Lily wants to say
what I
something.
did is,
Tom,
yeah, yes,
joyeux,
yes.
joyeux Noël et bonne heureuse année.
Joyeux Noël et bonne année à vous aussi. Merci.
And I don't have a clue what you
Um,
guys just said, so
I just wish him a
Merry
Merry Christmas.
Christmas, Happy New Year.
okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I tested a bunch of different sand, silt, and clay components, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm trying them all in different pots, and I have all the data of the different heavy metals in each component. And I really want to like learn what heavy metal thresholds will cause problems in cannabis. So that's really what I'm after right now.
Oh, fantastic! And I've got some ingredients, although we'd have to get tricky again. That helps to mitigate. It makes the metals non-bioavailable, so it can
Yeah.
be in the
Well,
soil.
I have some activated alumina that I'm gonna do a trial like right now to see what happens. Is that one of the things that you have in mind?
No, that's actually that's an ingredient. These are specific biological constituents. So
Okay.
individual that are doing the work. So they're basically stealing and
Okay.
sharing electrons to a point where the materials is inert. It can't hurt anything anymore. It can't be taken up. So it's basically
Okay.
like if you took lead and ate it, it could not release in your stomach. I mean, it's crazy shit. But this is how nature got our planet from a highly friggin' radioactive, toxic planet into a Garden of Eden is with these
Okay.
kinds of interactions with the biology. So again, it's all about the biology, Ken.
You know it, man. No cell can divide without it.
All right.
All
On
right.
that
Well,
note,
thank you
I'm
so
gonna
much. I'm gonna head out.
Christmas.
But if you don't mind, Merry Christmas to you all. Maybe next week or something, if you have time late, and I'd love to do a call
yeah,
to chat
for
about
sure.
it. And anytime you guys want me back on the podcast, let's do
I'll
it.
send you a
Especially
link.
in a couple months where I'll have some more data.
Sounds
Cool.
good. And yeah, ping me when you're ready, Tom. I'm pretty much housebound next week. I'll probably go check the compost couple different mornings, but other than that, with this new pup, I'm not getting crazy. So just
Okay,
ping
I'll
me when
reach out
you're
if you don't mind.
and Merry Christmas to you and your family, Tom, and of
Yeah.
course Ken and Lil. And then I'm gonna bounce too because if I don't get these guys on a walk, they're gonna tear this house apart.
Yeah, I know I sent
Okay,
Andy the
sounds
link,
good.
so Andy should be jumping on here pretty quick too. So
All
Merry
right.
Christmas, guys.
Merry
All right,
Christmas.
Merry Christmas. See you guys.
See ya. And back down to just me. And as I said, Andy Lopez is, if you can hear my phone pinging here, we'll see. He's having a problem finding the email. Should be the same email. But anyway, guys, Silly Lily, while I was playing Santa at the mall Santa, we had an experience that is kind of a little wild, and Lily actually posted a comment on someone else's video, and she wanted to make sure that I brought it up for you guys to read. But my husband played Santa one year. He asked the little girl what she wanted for Christmas. She responded with, "My daddy." Okay, he thought. Divorce, deployment. When he asked her, "Where's your daddy?" "In heaven," she responded. My husband looked over at Mom, who was crying. Santa explained to the little girl that there were things that not even Santa could do. She looked so disappointed. So Santa told her to close her eyes and imagine her daddy. At first she couldn't. Santa said, "Try again. Do you see him?" The little girl brightened up and said, "I can see him." Santa told her, "Whenever you want to see your daddy." That's all she had to do, was close her eyes and imagine him there, and that he would be there for her every time. She seemed pleased with that as she ran to her mom, who turned and mouthed, "Thank you, Santa." So that was a rather interesting experience, to say the least, my friends. And there is my friend Andy Lopez. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, Andy. Yeah, you're crazy.
Yeah, I wasn't supposed to be on. I was just over the corner. I'm totally naked. Oh my God.
Well, with that blue background and a kind of that blue shirt, it's looking pretty spicy in your eyes.
I didn't know I was going to be on here, man. I was just part of the audience.
Well, I know you were sitting in the background listening to the story of bouncing a young lady on my knee and her asking that question. And that was my basic response. And then after that, Santa took a break and had a shot of Bailey's. Okay.
I remember waiting in line, and the girl before me peed on his lap, and he had to go. I said, "Well, wait a minute. What's a little pee?" I said, "What's a little pee? Come back." And I was like, I never went again. I never went again. That was it.
Santa disappointed you. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Oh, did I have my... was I muted?
No, I can still hear you.
Oh, so it must have been my other camera. I got two cameras. Yeah.
Oh, and I want candy. It's not Halloween, Andy. It's Christmas.
No, okay? I want candy. Come on. I want candy. I'm not doing anything without candy. So this is your show, man. I'm just going to sit over here. I don't know. Not do anything. I don't need to be here. I'm not even dressed as Santa. I need to go get me a Santa hat.
Oh, no. I believe me, I've got Santa's workshop up over here, and then I've got the official jacket and the bag over here. Yeah.
What did you get?
I actually played a mall Santa.
What did you play? What did you get for Christmas?
What did I get for Christmas?
Yeah.
Let's see. I got a lot of love, respect, enjoyment, some cheesecake, some different gifts from family and friends, and just a wonderful attitude of love and caring for, life and this planet.
I know what you mean. I'm very happy, but I'm over here by myself. I live in the other part. I'm from a place it's right outside Mars, and they don't come over here anymore. And they don't even acknowledge Christmas. They used to send me stuff, but they won't anymore. So I don't know why. So I just here by myself on this. What are you doing on this stupid planet? I go, I don't know, man. I have no idea what I'm doing. Electric Kool-Aid. You like to? I just saw that the other day. I thought that was really cool. So this is one of my artwork I decided to do in the background there. I have lots of different, really, really interesting artwork that I do lately. Not lately. I've been doing it for a while now. Really, very, very spacey stuff.
You have ones that literally move with the music. You guys can find that on Andy's YouTube channel, but it literally flows with the music. It's amazing stuff, Andy.
Well, one day I was doing the artwork and the music, and I said, gee, I need to make the artwork move. So I did a little research online, and there's this app you can buy, and it helps you to make the artwork move. Only thing is like it's too psychedelic for people. I tell them, I have to put a warning. Do not watch if you're motion sickness, or if you get what is it when you
seizures, epilepsy.
Exactly right, because that all of that is that the brain is not connected; it's going somewhere else.
Well, in your case, in my case, I don't know how long ago it's been since my brain was connected. I think I've been disconnected for a long, long time, Andy.
Well, it depends. It depends what you mean by connected the brain or not connected. Because on one level, the mind made you do it. If you disconnect from that, that's cool.
Yeah.
On another level, your brain does need to be connected to your body because it's a functioning system that makes everything work. So it needs to really be connected properly on that level.
Well,
right?
I think the brain is there. It's my higher self. I just kind of float off into Neverland, every once in a while, especially listening to your binaural music. It's like, wow, man, where am I supposed to go now? This is tripping.
I have some really, really good stuff coming up too. I'm working on the new artwork for the cosmic spaceship. You won't believe it. And then I also have new music for it too, because some of the music are like 20 minutes long, and they're really, really cool. And it's getting better and better. And the new batch is holograms. So what I'm doing is holograms.
Okay, you're doing that. Who are you doing as a hologram? Are we talking dancing girls? Are we talking, waving wheat or something?
Listen, I've been watching what you guys have been doing and all kinds of really cool stuff on your channel here. And a lot of times you talk about energy and structure of water and all this stuff. I love to be able to mention holograms because everything's holographic. And if you use holograms, you learn how to automatically not only structure water, but our bodies are 99% water, right? The insects, the plants, everything. The earth is 90% water, right? So it's a trip. So I'm gonna just sit over here. Anything you want to talk about? Because I didn't know I was going to be on. I just saw you plugging in, and then I'm here with everybody talking. And are we smoking anything? Pass it around? What? Nothing.
Well, I was, a little bit earlier, but I can relight it, Andy. Not a problem.
So
what are you actually consuming?
I'm moved in. I'm not entirely moved in yet. I have a nice backyard in the back. I'm going to actually start a couple of seeds, see which ones are going to come up. Everything I have is sativa, and they're about 20 years old. Some are even 30 or 40 years old. So it depends. And I have been successful in making them grow. You have to learn how to. It's like growing peppers.
Right.
So it's very difficult to start unless you know how to make the soil temperature right. So I'm going to do it here and see what happens. And I like to get back to growing because that's a great experiment I've been doing for over 40 years.
Well, now, okay, we were just mentioning the structured water, and are you going to be using structured water when you try to start those really old seeds? Because I think that would really put the right energy in there, man.
Of course, I use structured water on everything I do. When I'm working on the garage, so I'm going to have a place to make the worm juice. I'll be making more worms. They love structured water, and then I can take that, and in the process of making 50. So what I do is I take a gallon of my worm juice, turn it into 50 gallons. But in that 50 gallons, that's all structured water. So all the minerals, when you do use that in the structured water, the minerals are actually more available, and they're in a form that can be available to the plants or to the people involved. Because your body reads that information and actually absorbs it. It doesn't even have to have it present. That's one interesting thing about using a black box, for example. You can transfer vitamins to other people or other plants simply by understanding how frequencies work or entrapment works. you know. So
Well,
yeah,
we were talking about that, and the guy that had built the towers where he was gathering the energies in and
yeah,
then putting it out to the local area.
yeah. His name is Phil Callahan, and it's called the energy. I forget the name of it now. My partner took the book. She took 3 books away. One's called the Magic of Water. I think it's called the Magic of Water, or and it's about a Japanese person who does a electron microscope.
Yeah. The heck's his name?
Water, and it's a really
Yamamoto.
Yeah, right. Exactly right. You can look it up, but you'll find that the when I do that, I automatically like to do that in everything I do. So when I'm out there spraying people's properties, they don't need to know that it has structured water in it. They don't need to know that the microbes are all happy because the water is more conducive for them to grow and all that stuff. All they need to know is that these things are growing and it gets rid of the diseases and stuff like that. Oh, no, Andy Hosa got onto a story. He's a professional arbor gardener since 1972. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Those who don't know. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, man.
Well, we have our weekly show on Wednesday nights, 6 p.m. Pacific, Gardens the Untold Story. And you need to send me another list, Andy. You're supposed to send me. What's our topic of this coming Wednesday?
I told it to you, and I totally forgot now because I'm only hearing the present, brother. The present sometimes comes around again. That's cool. I can deal with that. But if it doesn't moves on, I'm on to something else. I think we were going to talk about rock dust.
I think we've talked about rock dust. Probably, I think episode 2 or 3. I think we did rock dust. We're up at episode 28, Andy. Like, we're going to be 29, episode 29 this week.
Yeah. I think I was going to be talking about rock dust again.
Okay. Well, we can go deeper then.
Well, I was going to introduce everybody to at least 14 different sources of rock. Remember, we talked a little bit about it. So this time what I'm going to do is that we're going to share my page. I'm going to take you to their website. You can see each one of them. But I also wanted to talk more about trace minerals, or we talked about rock dust, why each one's good for, So that's also very helpful, and why we do. I don't know how many of you all out there know what rock dust is. So not too many people do. So it's very possible that somebody what's going on? Oh my God! Look at the store.
Where can I see it? The salt rock dust there, and then that one's a glacial rock dust.
Glacial rock dust, right?
And then I think I have one more different style of rock dust as well. But hey, I'll take you in and get some plants.
They're very nice. That is really, very, very nice. Are you giving them a little bit of the rock dust mixture? How are you giving it to them?
Actually, no. I had Nathan from here. I'll put the Black Swallow Living Soil sent me the soil that is in those pots. So it's a pre-made soil I've been doing foliars, humic fulvic acid, and then the Korean natural farming inputs, water-soluble calcium, lactic acid bacteria, calcium phosphate, fish amino acids. That's where this is the R&D grow. Like, I've got plants in here, Andy. Maybe you could identify them for me because I have no idea what the heck they are.
I can always take a look. But listen, you should be using the rock dust very, very, very likely, and start learning. Especially, you can blend it in with all these other things. Humic acid is great because it helps break things down. If you have any microbes, you can put them in that. Make a soup out of it, let it break down. That's what I do. So when I was young, way back then, I used to take the rock dust and go put it under people's property. That's a no-no. That's a big waste of rock dust. So what I do is I have the microbes processed first. My super seaweed actually has 14 different rock dusts in it with a lot of microbes that go to it first, and then the liquid is what I sell and use. And that's what you want. That's what you want to learn to use. You want to learn to add the rock dust as a blend. First, you blend them all together into one mixture, and then you start using that, figure out the right amount. And usually it's trace minerals, right? Very tiny, tiny amount, because people often use a lot more. Trace minerals remember, don't be a moron.
Exactly. Less is more. You don't want to put things out of balance. And it's literally all about balance. Like I haven't done a lot for these plants, other than some foliar feeding and watering them, every day.
Right,
I'm really lucky.
One of the things you'll find out, and I know you did a section on a show on pH. You'll find that these rock dust are salts, and they will affect the pH. They're very alkaline.
Actually, I don't do pH. Yeah, I don't because I don't do hydroponics, and I'm using reverse osmosis water. So I'm really actually just started putting some humics into my reverse osmosis water to top water. Other than that, I've just been the foliar feeding.
Well, so you don't see what pH your soil is in your containers.
No, I haven't.
You don't worry about that because
there's a lot of buffering, right? In any soil structure with the biology. Let me just get in here.
Pretty good.
Oh, yeah. These leaves are okay. I'm taking the hat off because it's gonna fall off otherwise.
It looks like sativa to me.
Yeah. Well, this is a Kush.
Right.
This one right here.
Yeah.
You can see the lower leaf there.
Right.
And they're 12s, right, off of each one. And then this is an SFV OG Kush, and she's pushing 7s. Like the leaves are nice and thick, waxy. Then we've got another Kush plant with Joe Brandt, and then back there is Medi Kush with pre-98 Bubba, I think, and then another SV. I'm hoping to get a male out of these. I want to make some seeds. Got a young lady that I'm trying to help in BC that has seizures, and she needs seeds. She's doing microgreens and seed sprout tea. The hormone balancing effect of that has been amazing for her body and stopping the seizures, right?
Right.
But it takes a lot of seeds to make microgreens, and she needs high THC seeds. So I'm going to be growing for seed in my grow to be able to send to her for the research that they're doing to help other people. So
microgreen, it's also like a sea of green where you have a whole bunch of small ones.
No, microgreen is you're growing it to the first cotyledon.
Right.
So your first true leaf.
Right.
That's where the main flavors are.
Right.
So your flavonoids. The nutritional value is at the most extreme at that level. Like I used to do radish, mung bean,
right.
A few different things. Like I do corn, and
cool. You can eat the corn.
You can do microgreens, corn microgreens.
Eat the whole plant.
If you keep them covered, they never see light. They'll stay yellow, and they will have the absolute sweetest corn flavor you've ever had, and they'll get to 5 or 6 inches tall.
Right. Has this lady ever tried? I'm assuming she's using indica. Has she ever tried sativa for that?
They tried a lot. She consumes the Medi Kush in a vape pen, and then she has a CBD plant. Is actually named after after her, Halley's Comet, and that I guess is a really hard one to grow. She doesn't produce that much, but that's the medicine that she needs on the CBD side.
Is that indica or sativa?
I think that one might be an indica, because I think it's a longer flowering plant. I think it's a 10-week.
Have you guys found out that sativa or indica produce more of what she wants for medicine than which one does? Do you know? Because I read that sativa is very good for that.
Well, put it this way, Andy. Her mom is taking her bachelor's in biology so that she can work with these scientists on these research papers. They have tracked this. They didn't expect her daughter to live past 15. She had seizures so bad, like she was having 300 plus a day. And she's over 30 now. So the research that has happened has been that long in the making. It's some amazing stuff.
So do you know if they actually did a study on either one or what?
Pardon me?
Do you know if they did a study? They studied the research that's
Oh, yes.
Yeah. What did they say?
Andy, I don't have the answers to that question. I'm actually going to be having her on a series, I think, talking about what has happened and the research that they've done, the research that they're doing. Her daughter is one of the reasons, the same with John Burfello, that we have medical cannabis in Canada. One of the first research scientists was Dr. Hornby in British Columbia, and he worked with both of John Burfello and Haley to help them with their conditions. Like John fell 28 feet on a concrete, broke his back, then he's got T-boned the head on. Yeah, but the research goes back to before we even have legal cannabis in Canada. It's been going on, for 15 years. They've got a lot of data. That's for damn sure.
I have a friend that owns a couple of dispensaries in Colorado.
Oh, yeah.
I knew him quite a few years ago before it was legal. And what happened was once it became legal for recreational, there was a next door state. I don't know if it's Oklahoma or someplace right next to it, where it was illegal. A lady went into Colorado to buy this product because she heard it was really good for seizures. It was in a liquid form. So on the way out, the border got her and started talking about that was illegal to come into the state with it. You still there? You're not moving.
Yeah.
You're not breathing. Oh, and anyway, the little girl broke out in a seizure. Got too stressed out. The guy gave her back the bottle. She took put a drop in the kid's mouth, and it stopped the seizure instantly. And the guy says, "Never mind, go through."
Yeah,
and that was sativa.
Yeah, I've seen CBD sprays where the one I think she was in an airport. And she started going into a seizure, and they just, one spray in her mouth, and bang, it was done. And she got back up like nothing had ever happened. But there's so much that this plant can give us, Andy. And I don't know, because it's the CBD aspect that was helping with the seizures. I don't know, is there really a difference with the indica sativa in a CBD variety?
Then let me just tell you real fast I think I know. So I specialize specifically in sativa for many reasons. One, the primary reasons is that there's the difference between indica and sativa is that the THC that each of them produce, slightly different structure, that the sativa one binds better in the, let's see, where do you have it? You have how there's a name for the little bubble that things can hook into. If you know what I'm talking about, basically in your brain, they have these little
Neural
that.
networks?
Yeah, yeah, and it has a little like a space that's supposed to fit something. What fits in there is the sativa cell. It fits right in there. Whereas the indica cell does not fit in there. And if you were to look it up and do research, you'll find that sativa is being more and more used for medicine than indica was, because indica does is that mainly people take it to not feel anything, right? To get numbed out, basically.
Right.
But that's not really the way it works, because the idea of the way it works is you fix where the connection is. That's the problem, where the connection is supposed to be working. And so
you're talking about the endocannabinoid system.
Yeah, exactly right. And it's supposed to fit. And so your brain has this little compartment that it fits right in there. And
the receptors.
This one, right, the receptor, right? It fits right in there. Like, gee, maybe it's supposed to fit in there. Because they're saying your body's supposed to be able to produce this. Right, exactly right. Your body's supposed to produce this automatically. But so the THC that it produces, and it's the same, it's also the same thing with psilocybin mushrooms. It produces something that fits right in your receptor. Duh.
Yeah, like it was designed to go there for some weird and wonderful reason.
Right. And so I truly believe that this is not a coincidence. None of that's a coincidence. And so that's why I specifically use and the varieties now of sativa are no good compared to the varieties 30, 40, 50 years ago. That's why I still specialize in the OG varieties. Things that are the original sources, like a Panama Red, are really, really good for that. You know, Jamaican is really good. They have called Lance Breath. Each country has their own specific one that they've had for centuries, which is different than all these hybrids that they're selling now, right? Right?
Yeah.
And it's what's it? Sativas and tropical green to keep you moving in hot days work. Indicas and color, living touch, ease your pain. Exactly right. And so sativa, that's why it comes from tropical regions. It's also very, very good for meditation. There was for using that to expand your awareness. And sativa is also when it clicks into your brain, it makes the cell, everything works. So you do more stuff. If you train yourself, it opens new pathways in your brain. It opens you to music. It opens you to art. Whereas the other stuff puts you to sleep, knocks you out. You wake up the next day. That was wonderful, right? Right. I mean, that's my opinion. And I think people should, but if they're doing research on it now, they're using these new varieties of sativa, which are basically hybrids of all different kinds of mixture and indica in there. It's hard to find pure old-fashioned indica, sativa that you normally get from the old days. Mm-hmm. And that's what I think they should look at. So there's a big difference in what they'll find. They literally should start growing it themselves so they can get these varieties going, because once you get one, you can get, like you said, male will generate a whole bunch of it, and make sure they interbreed just with sativa, right? When I was growing, I was really careful. Only the sativas have fun with the other sativas. I had one male and 4 ladies. They produce tons. One plant, thousands of seeds. Each seed is genetically different. Yeah, 100%. Really different. When you find that white one, you want to get the pollen from that one and regrow it again, because that's a whole different ball game than it's available to the market now. So I'm just throwing that out because you may want to tell this person, maybe, are you looking at old varieties of sativa because that's what you want? You want to go to this country and get something that they had originally from there, not that you're buying in the store, because that's not going to work.
Well, it's just like these what John has grown here. He's been growing for, I think it's 18 or 19 years now. The same strain, the same plant.
Yeah.
And so he's got the pre-98 Bubba. Those strains, a lot of them, they're out there. It's just a matter of finding the right person that has been holding on to that strain for decade upon decade, because that's their medicine or their family's medicine. And I think that's what is going to really motivate people to move forward, is when they can help others. I don't know very many people, especially in our community, that don't want to help other people. That's why we're here. That's why you've come on Christmas. And did I say Merry Christmas yet, Andy?
No, You told me, who the heck are you, brother? How did you get in here? Did you break into my system? Oh my God! It's
Oh yeah. I
button?
better put the Santa hat back on. It's Christmas, right? You know.
Thank you, silly. All varieties of sativa. Exactly. That's exactly what you want to key into. That's why it's so important to really look for these old varieties. I'm willing to give you some, whether you start them or not. You have to know how to start them, because I've given away a few. They said we can't start and give them back. I start them. You have to learn how. You have to really know how to start them, because they also are very sensitive to the external. So you're going indoors, but it's 30 degrees outside and you're 90 degrees indoors. They're not going to start because they can sense the 30 degrees outside. These guys do not like to grow in temperature. That's why Thai, for example, indoors is 6 months.
Yeah.
6 months to get. And Acapulco Gold actually amazing. It really
Yeah.
is. I have some. It's just a matter whether the seeds are good or not. I have tons of stuff. I have to figure out a way to find people who are willing to, because I don't want to die with all these seeds, but I think if they know how to start them, they should be able to start them. There's no reason why you can't start them under the right conditions. You can't do. You guys know how to start seeds. You don't get chlorinated water to start seeds with, right? You have to give them the right environment to begin with, right from the bat. That's what I'll be doing now over here. I'm going to actually start some. And if I can start one, anybody else can too. I literally have a couple hundred seeds. I don't think I'm ever going to be able to do those things. I don't know how I'm going to do this. I was thinking doing bonsai plants, bonsai marijuana plants.
Okay, that's a new one on me. A bonsai marijuana plant?
Actually, right. I had one for 10 years, and it wasn't more than 2 feet. And if you stick it back under the right condition, I had the LED lights and stuff like that. It'll be like one, and you prune the buds so it look like a tree. You shape it. Nobody ever know what the heck it is. And if you leave it alone, it gets better and better and better. You don't have to pull it. The biggest thing, of course, is you want to, oh my God, I got to smoke this. Oh, and you look through the thing, you know what I mean? That's the biggest thing. When I was in Florida, the oldest plant I had was maybe 4 years. And it snowed in Miami one of those years and killed my plant.
Okay.
I wouldn't, when I grow indoors, I don't harvest them. I pick them all as much as I can, leave about a third of them on there. And then I put it back into a 24-hour light mold.
Yeah.
And give them all the right food. The buds will drop off. The leaves will start in the growing mode again. See you guys later. Happy growing. I guess you're coming or going. I don't know. Cheers means going, right?
Well, cheers is just a greeting, you know. Cheers, mate.
I'm on-site bomb for 2 years. Exactly right. It's a lot of fun. You have to learn how to do it. They're very tricky, but if you grow indoors, you can grow even longer than that. That's my mother plant. I had a mother plant for 5 years that didn't die.
Yeah.
I kept pruning it back and come back again, pruning it back and come back again. Only reason why it died is I had to move. It's very hard to take a mother plant from that space where it's growing to another environment. It didn't make it.
Well, considering you're coming from outer space to our planet, you know, yeah, it's a long trip for a mother plant, you know.
We're not supposed to tell people this stuff, okay? You're not supposed to tell them anything. Somebody's gonna knock on my door, knock me out. Next thing you know, they're doing anal probes or something. I don't know, you know.
Well, we're not going there, okay? No.
You know, whatever. Okay, guys. So I guess I'm gonna go too. I don't know.
Okay, you're gonna leave me alone. I'm gonna feel so lonely.
No, you look like you're having fun. I like your little grow room. It's very nice, very clean. I would love to have a grow room. Indoors is really the way to go. I also think that indoors is the way to grow your vegetables too. Sooner or later, you're going to have to learn how to do it indoors because that's the only way you're going to be able to do anything else indoors. You can't grow outside anymore.
I got onions over there. I got daikon radish.
Right.
Let's see here.
Don't plant them in the same container.
Oh, no. I just got them in 5-gallon bucket or 5-gallon pots. You can see a flower over there, one over there. You know, this one's flowering like mad.
That's arugula? Arugula.
No, I think that one's the daikon radish.
Okay.
Beets.
Beets. There you go.
Yeah, mung bean back there. And that's yellow mustard. that's got the yellow flowers back there.
That's nice.
And
That's
then
nice.
of course we got
Back to the area too. Circulation really nice. Let me see your LED lights.
Let me just back up a little bit here.
Those are nice.
Okay, so those are Gromau pucks. He's a grower that built his own lights. You can get them with heat shields, but what I did is that's an aluminum plate. I bought a 4x8 sheet and I cut it into strips, and that's my heat sink. And then I've got a fan up on top that's sucking the air up, bringing it around the sides, and then there's a fan in the back. It's blowing up towards the lights, and then I normally have that fan blowing across the top. Little humidifier.
You don't have any lights on the side, do you? You don't have any lights on the side.
Oh no. And then I got a humidifier over there. So I maintain, my vapor pressure deficit as much as I can, my temperature as much as I can. But
put aluminum foil on the bottom.
No.
It flex the light back up again, makes it a little bit brighter from underneath.
I know, but it's
too hard to walk on.
In Mother Nature, does Mother Nature really do that? Like, unless you're at the side of a pond or a river, are you getting really off normal soil a reflective quality like that? So would that really be a benefit, or could it end up being putting your plant out of balance because that's not a normal thing, right?
It's not a normal thing to grow indoors either. So you're doing something that's not normal anyway. I mean, Mother Nature does not. So you're already doing it. So what you're doing is just helping to get more lights, because if it gets more light in there, it won't be so dark. It'll help it grow. It won't unbalance it any more than it already is from giving what you're doing now.
Well, the cannabis plant needs a certain amount of photons every day. It's daily light integral. And right now I am actually, with the distance I have away, I'm getting the amount of photons onto the leaf that it needs in the time span that the lights are on. It can only use so much. So I make sure that I'm not overfeeding it light. So putting light up from underneath really wouldn't, in the situation, doing it that way, I don't know that there would really be any benefit, and it would be a pain in the rump, okay, to put tinfoil down, okay, and then try not to rip it, right? But like, I have the white floor, and I am getting a reflection from the white floor, so I am getting some kind of a reflective effect.
Well, I did it in the containers. I put it in the containers. I also did it on the walls as well. But the lights that I had were tiny little round ones. They're about that, like that.
Okay.
They're meant for the side, and they're LEDs, and they're equal to about 1,000 watts. But they really light up the underneath everything. Makes it a lot easier for them. I thought it was good for them, but I didn't really study it to see, some that didn't get it and some that did. I didn't know the difference. Other than it did look like I was getting more growing in there, because a lot of times you have to thin it out so you get light down in there. You know what I'm saying, right? Because I wanted to have the buds growing throughout the plant rather than just along the outer areas.
Well, and that's one of the benefits of LEDs, because they do actually penetrate through the leaf structures of the upper leaves to get to the bottom. Yeah, they do. Yeah,
that's really cool. The early ones didn't do anything. So
they didn't have the power to, right?
Yeah, do you know what generations they are now?
What generation they are?
Right, the LEDs are certain generations. Like when I was doing it was a few years ago. It was up to 8 generations. Now it's probably about 20 or 30. They'll tell you what generation they're at.
Oh yeah, it's amazing, the technology.
Every 6 months is a new generation or so, maybe even sooner.
A lot of it is the LEDs, the cob LEDs. There's the different levels of that you can get. and then it's your power supply, right? And then there's the wavelengths. Like now we can get far red, we can get far blue.
Right.
So you're getting the infrared, which actually the infrared penetrates, I believe it's 8 feet into your soil structure, right?
I didn't have any of that available to me at all. And that was like 10,
Yeah.
15 years ago.
Yeah. Well, I know I don't have them in here. I have some red in these LEDs, but it's not the far red. But I can actually add to this system to put the far red and the far blue. I just did. I need another. You can't really see them, but I got Meanwell drivers up on the wall up there, and that's what's driving my lights.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Well, you're having fun. You're having fun. This is good, and it's also good at the end of the day. You get to enjoy your harvest. That's what it's all about: growing something and then doing it for yourself. Right? It's better than having somebody else do it because you never really know what they're putting into it and put your energy and love into it. So that's really cool. It's very, very nice. I really like that. That's really great. You're doing really, really well. I'm not going to say anything because I really don't know, but I can tell. I can tell you all seem to be having a good time, enjoying yourself. So.
Well, and that's that's the joy and happiness I bring into my grow, and it's part of the energetic, right? There's so much more that we're just starting to learn and understand on the energetic side, Andy. Whether it's the guys the Meehan boys in Maine who literally took crystals from the riverbed and powdered them, beat them with hammers and powdered them and put them into their raised garden beds. And that energy flow, their mother who was upstairs thought there was a generator going, for Christ's sakes, right? But it was the crystal energy that they had put into the soil structure, and they're getting some like amazing cannabis from that.
Yeah, you're lucky you have a source. That's really cool. Might as well do it, right? Exactly.
Well,
right.
Yeah, I don't have a source around here, or I'd probably be doing it too.
What I do was I would take I used to go to different rock shops and stuff like that, and you can buy bags and boxes and stuff. Take it home with you. Mix it in your raised bed and your garden beds. You'd be surprised. I like lodestone, but a lot of them are very different. They just have all this really cool dust that they throw away. It's not really dust. It's just very small particles of all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really, very good if you have a source of. Right now, I don't have any local source here. I would have to go on a trip again. But now, and they also don't let you go on people's properties if you see something. Like here in Malibu, you're not allowed to get rocks from the mountainside or any of that stuff. That's too bad.
Yeah. Well, I know that there's the laws like that in Canada, especially in British Columbia, are pretty. The fines are pretty stiff. For talking, stopping, grabbing some shale. Like I know people that used to do artwork, and they go and they collect shale, and they're not even allowed to do that anymore, right? It's really ridiculous in so many different ways.
Shale is really cool. Once you learn to start finding out different sources of things that you can actually get from the soil, from the ground, from the earth, you'll find that has all the energy you need. If you incorporate that into your garden, and lots of ways you can make tools from it. Like I'm going to work on some really cool organic accumulator boxes in my garden when I build them, and I'll show people what I'm doing and how I can, because it's easy enough to find stuff. You just have to maybe go online or maybe go for a little drive out into the countryside, especially after the rains, because the rains reveal everything. You say, "Oh, look at that growing over there," So it's like a little bit of dowsing. So I'll have your list tomorrow for you, so we can. Another two shows that we're going to do. And if anybody has any questions or idea on a show they would like to do, just send it to Ken. Ken will send it to me. So I'm going to go. My computer is flashing. I got something else going on. Take care, guys. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Andy. Thanks for coming, brother.
It's going to be 2024 soon. Wow.
Yep.
Okay.
Not
bye
very
now.
long.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, and you guys are stuck back with me. Does anybody? I've been half paying attention to the chat, guys, but does anybody have any questions or anything like that about what I'm doing in the R&D grow, where it's going. You guys have seen a little bit of the plants. I'm going to take the hat off, guys. You guys have seen the plants. The clones. I think there's still one that it's just got a little bit of a nub coming out now. But other than that, we're pretty much, I'm going to have to start, transplanting the clones into soil here probably tomorrow. I'm actually thinking of pulling out the veg stuff that I have here. Hey, why? Merry Christmas. And putting it in where I had the flower room, like that's the much larger room. It's 8 foot by 20. And this is like 10 by 12. I'm thinking of flowering in what was the veg. I want to do a lot of plants. I want to do some microgreens, etc. Collecting more biology and green matter for everybody was talking about chop and drop of a cover crop. I can grow a little bit of that cover crop. Using the methodology for the microgreens, like Andy and I were just talking about, that is where the most nutrient of that plant is, and the mother is actually the one that gives that seed that much energy, that much nutrition in that seed. If the plant, that the mother was healthy, that's one of the reasons that I try to grow such healthy plants, is when I do get seed from those plants, it's going to be a vibrant, healthy seed with everything in it for the next generation to be that much better. So what I'm figuring and doing, like I was saying, is moving my veg area into the larger room so that I can also start looking at what we're going to be putting in the garden for, not just vegetables, stuff like that, but flowers for bee habitat, things like that, things that we can get started early and have those plants, at a really nice, healthy stage before we move them outside into, the garden area and around the property. So that's what I'm thinking I'm going to be doing. And I'm probably going to be using just a lot of the fluorescent lights. I know I used to grow microgreens using those lights for, about 3 or 4 or 5 months that I was growing the microgreens consistently, and they were beautiful. So I think I can get away with just using the daylight bulbs in the fluorescence, at least to start, and then as we progress forward with the R&D, I will start bringing in other lights, other components. Like I'm going to be probably using a lot of stuff from BioAg. I've been talking to Josh. I've been doing some deeper research into the biostimulants. That was something that in my education I hadn't really gotten into. So I've really been starting to look at using the humics and the fulvics, the silicas, etc. Let me just see who's sending us a text. Just YouTube shorts from Andy. Yeah, he's not on air anymore, but he's still sending me texts. Gotta love Andy Lopez, guys. So where would you guys like to see some of the experiments go? Here we got what was the name of the living soil again? Here, I'll grab, we'll see if that one comes through. It is Black Swallow Living Soil, and they're out of Ontario, I think. But yeah, I got another one, and you can see the where it says living soil on the bottom. But yeah, the black swallow living soil. Nathan over there, you can call him, give him a hard time. And it has done absolutely fantastic. Uh, we've also been using, of course, all the inputs that I've made myself, from the fish amino acid to the calcium, to the calcium phosphate, um, etc. And then we've been using quad eggs, humic, and fulvic, and their foliar application. I've been using that, on a weekly basis now, basically since the start. And we're what? Oh, geez, I think we're 2 months, or approximately, or we're 2 months and 3 days, or something like that. Or in 3 days will be 2 months with these plants. As soon as we know that our clones have set in soil, then I'm going to start taking our time from 16 down to the 12, and put them all in flower. And I am very interested in seeing what happens. We will be scrogging at that time. Once I have the other plants out of this room, I'll be able to start using the metal stakes that I use. And I don't know if you guys can see them. They're in a 5-gallon pail back in the corner there. I got 4-foot. I got some 6-foot metal stakes. I like the metal stakes. Basically, I was using bamboo, but with the bamboo being hollow, you can get, bad stuff that, takes up a residence in there. So I switched to the metal stake. I was buying them, on sale at the end of the gardening season, Canadian Tire, et cetera, et cetera. Most people have that. And I was buying what was left at the end of the season for, like, pennies on the dollar kind of thing. But yeah, I switched to the metal stakes. And then I just, well, I'll show you what I use for ties. Got 2 different styles that I use. And basically buy the stuff on the roll, and then I purposely cut it myself. But it's just gardening wire, right? Cut about 6-8 inches long. That's the one style I use. And then I have the foam ones with the wire, just so that I'm not putting as much pressure on the stalk when I'm tying it up. So I can leave it, with a decent sized hole, still have it secured to the stake, and not do any damage to it. The foam ones, I find the wire really doesn't, I guess, stay in it, or it likes to shift around, where the thinner ones with more of the almost a rubber around the wire is a lot more flexible. And I haven't had any break at all, so we're probably going to be using a lot of that for when we're doing our scrogging. I'm not going to be putting up scrog nets. As I said, we'll be using the stakes. So let's see. They're to Brantford, Ontario. Yeah. And that's the black swallow. And it was actually you guys that had me reach out to Nathan at Black Swallow on one of the shows. Somebody said, "Don't use Gaia Green. You want to use Black Swallow." And so I reached out, and yeah, they were happy to send me out a bag. And I'll have to get a hold of Nathan in the new year, try to get him onto the show to talk about this soil, because it's doing absolutely fantastic. You know, along with the amendments that I'm putting on. So okay, let's see. And I'm not sure, Pamela, where are you getting lost in? Are you getting lost in Brantford, Ontario? Let's see. Heart and Soul. Yeah, I've used this stuff for years now and no problems. I amend and re-amend light and mostly do water only, to be fair, though, and occasional microbe inoculations, etc. And that's the thing is, you know, lots of times we don't have to overly amend where there's so much, especially, you know, if you guys grab a little bit of sand, uh, you know, and like Leighton says, colored sand, so a little bit of green or brown or blue, not white, because white is basically the minerals have been used up. But if you amend like even at 1 cup of sand in like a 5 gallon, is going to give you, you know, huge amounts of the building blocks that your biology and your plants need. And by adding that sand, you're actually allowing another layer of biology to exist in your soil system. If there's no sand, that biology that would mine that doesn't have to be or can't be in your system because they don't have their food source. They don't have their job. It's like you building a house and, you know, having the electrician come in before the house has been put up by the framers. It just, you know, it doesn't work. So that's something where I think one of the things that we've missed a lot of is that component of sand. In the research that I've done, you know, over the you know several years now that I've been doing this, one of the things that a lot of the doctors like Elaine Ingham and Dr. Johnson, the Johnson Soup bioreactor, point out is that they did a worldwide survey on sand and the components that exist inside of a sand particle. And the consensus is basically globally, sand pretty much has everything that is necessary for plants to grow. And it doesn't matter where you are in the world. That's where Leighton, if you've ever watched the Soil Matters, he has talked about you know, him working with a university where their how is it put together soil structure was dying off, and it was they had so much sand to help with compression, etc. And he went in with biology, and by adding the biology, all of a sudden the glomalin was produced, and they started to take the sand and stitch it into soil. And it's the components of the sand that they needed to be mining, and then putting it back together where, you know, the grass could grow and be healthy again, because it had the biological component that was necessary to build not only more cells for the plants, but more biology. You have to consider, guys, that the more biology, the more workforce that you have available in your soil, in your stock, in your leaf, right? The more workforce, the faster the next cell gets built. And if you are also adding the components or the building blocks, the 2x4s and the plywood, the concrete, everything for that biology to build that cell, then you have an explosion of both biology and the cells that are growing your plant. So that's why I say it's all about the biology. That's why I talk about the S phase of cell development before RNA and DNA. the biology has to be available and the components have to be available before a cell can divide. So no cell, unless it becomes a rogue cell and unhealthy, is going to divide until it's got both the workforce and the building materials to make a healthy cell. So the more we give of that availability of both biology and, like Andy was talking about, the rock dust, in moderation, because everything needs to be kept in a balance. So, a little bit goes a long way as for micronutrients. And in a lot of ways, a little bit goes a long way in macronutrients. It's just making sure that there's the availability of the biology and the components for the biology to be able to mine to give to the biology that builds the cells of your plant. So that was a long-winded thing. So I'll just do a quick scroll back here. We got Heart and Soul Homegrown. Let's see here. Yeah, okay, yeah. I read that one already. Cheers, everyone, and Merry Christmas. Definitely. Got the Santa stuff going on in Santa's workshop. So we're talking about the best thing, for my soul some days is to come and sit out here with these ladies, and just breathe in the fresh air that they're giving to me. As I give them carbon monoxide, they're giving me oxygen back. The green wire is great. Yes, Pembama, definitely. No Jadam. I actually, when I got into the looking at the Korean natural farming, I got into, Kevin Trump, and the guy out of Hawaii, Drake, and them actually going to Korea and filming with with the Master Cho. And I remember Master Cho talking about Shaddam with his son and how Shaddam was going to be where everybody really was going to go because it was quicker and it was faster. I think I'm going to try some of the things, but a lot of it, even the Janab micronutrient solution, where you take the leaf duff, some baked potato, it's designed as an anaerobic, and you're getting a lot of bacteria. And I look at that as it's going to be more of a food source for the healthy biology that's there, that's anaerobic, instead of being the aerobic biology. So I'm giving them a more of a food source, in both, the components that cells need, what their biology needs for them to make, more biology. It's more that. I probably, like, even the surfactant that he uses, I'm just using soap nut, and I actually have to make some more. And it's just basically a matter of taking soap nut. I'll get the bottle. If you guys have never seen soap nuts, it's we actually use it for laundry detergent, eco nuts, and that's all they are. They're just literally nuts that come off of a tree, and you boil them and squish out the soap that's inside. Basically, that's why they use it in laundry, because it works really well, and it's 100% natural and organic. So, but I have to make some more surfactant. But that, I think, would be, I'm not going to say never, because I'll probably try some different stuff in the grow, just to check, and just to play with. I never rule anything out. I talk to you guys about listening to many voices, and I do do exactly that. Like I was telling Leighton earlier in the show, I watched every video he put out on the Future Cannabis Project. The Under the Living Soil Conversations. I ingested all that knowledge, and then he sent me down other wormholes like Gerald Pollock on the fourth phase of water. You know, there's so many different people. Elaine Ingham, which led me to the Johnson Sioux bioreactor. Diego Footer and his, putting it together in a slightly different way that worked better for me. So I am constantly, trying to learn new things and not just, on growing, but in the technical side of things. Like, I was talking with Tom Landry and then Leighton about, the HVAC system, where, you can heat this huge volume of space with very little cost. And that's why I've designed my grow the way I have. I want to control the air movement in my grow, and I can change the temperature without having to do a lot of input. I just wasn't expecting it to be so warm in Canada right now that I was having to come out here and open the door to, let cool air in. It's normally, sub-zero by quite a bit here this time of year. But had a brown Christmas. I didn't mind it at all. I don't know about you guys that normally that's your norm. Uh, I don't know. I've always, I think maybe this is my first, maybe my second brown Christmas. I think the last one, I think we got snow on Christmas Day. So I think this is my first brown Christmas. I would love to actually, be able to grow outside year round, have more of a Mediterranean, climate. But we'll have to see what happens when our planet gets back into balance herself. It's coming. You can just see it in all the different weather changes, on globally, where I've mentioned before the Inuit's letter, open letter to NASA, that you can look up where the ice sheet isn't melted; it's just shifted. There's these little teasing tidbits that I've been planting seeds, guys, since I came on the first time with Leighton, to talk about who was in control of the rhizosphere. And that's where it's all about the biology really came from, was taking those understandings and looking at that S phase, and where it literally, if that biology isn't there to create, the components, and the biology isn't there to build the components and use them, there is no life. There is no cell division, and we're multi-celled organisms. And so I think that in itself should kick some people in their butt, going, I've got to improve not just my own health, but I have to get this information out there to people so that we can affect enough of a change to tip the balance back into our favor of health and the Garden of Eden for this planet. Because we can do that. We can create that. And it's each and every one of us that are growing plants, whether that's cannabis or flowers. It's in the growing in with the biology and adding that biology back and balancing the soil and the life that is coming from the soil up into the larger arthropods and into the rabbits and the birds. It's that synergistic relationship that we really need to have to move all of us forward in the crazy world right now. But guys, I believe that we are going to do this. We are going to, change enough of our planet fast enough where we can affect a large enough change to keep us in balance. I started when I came on with Leighton and Brian saying we had 10 to 15 years. That would be 3 years ago now. 3 years ago in I think in January or in February, when I first came on with them. I think it was in February, but I don't want to say time's running out, but we need to get more voices out. We need to be the lit candles. We need to be talking to our friends and our neighbors. We need to be sharing this information, and the love for plant medicine is, for me, just part of that journey. I'm looking forward to getting out more into the community. I know I'll be at the Grow Up again in March, in Edmonton again. So it's in getting out and talking to others and doing it with caring and sharing and community as the core principle of the meaning behind what you're doing. I'm on a mission, and I know a lot of you guys have joined me in that mission and understand that it is all about the biology. So I'm hoping that I get to meet a bunch more of you guys in the future. The next year or so. I'm hoping to be getting out and doing a lot more traveling across Canada, going to not just cannabis events, but regenerative events, talking to farmers that have the potential of really making large changes, in and around our planet. And I think that it's going to be a wonderful 2024. The next show, guys, is going to be on Wednesday with Andy. And it looks like rock dust is going to be the topic for that show. I want to wish everybody a merry, merry, merry Christmas, a wonderful new year, peace and love, and some really good medicine for everybody that needs it. So blessings to everybody. And I'm going to say good night. So from Santa's workshop, everybody have a wonderful, wonderful day. Love you all.